We'll start the economy questions, and I call Gary Middleton.
Number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I'll answer questions 1, 8 and 11 together. Local economic partnerships represent an entirely new approach in how the Department works with local government and other local stakeholders. It takes time to instil genuine partnership, and the 3-year programme allows for flexibility required to establish LEPs and to bring forward action plans that address local economic needs. LEPs have been established in all 11 council areas. Progress varies across the partnerships, with some still refining economic priorities, while others are finalising action plans. Newry Morning Down is the first LEP to submit an action plan to the Department for approval, and I anticipate more will follow soon after. Based on the latest estimates from councils, approximately £1.5 million of the Regional Balance Fund will be spent in year 1, with the majority of funding weighted towards years 2 and 3. Mid and East Antrim LEP is currently refining its action plan with a view to submitting a final version to the Department for approval in coming months. I met with Ards and North Down Council in September to hear more about the partnership following the inaugural meeting of the LEP. I know the partnership intends to meet again in October to develop its priorities further and to identify project proposals. My officials and InvestNI colleagues will continue to support all partnerships in developing their action plans over coming months.
Mr. Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I thank the Minister for her response. Minister, in your answer you've outlined the purpose of the partnerships, but of course the real measure in terms of success will be delivery. Minister, you mentioned £1.5 million to be spent by the end of this financial year. Minister, do you believe the lack of spending is actually a failure on your behalf and the behalf of your department?
And I thank the member for his question, and no, I don't think that it's a failure. I think that time was necessary to be given to the partnerships to establish themselves, to come up with their priorities. We want the partnerships to actually be genuine, and therefore there are different lengths of time. Some councils already have good relationships and similar type arrangements in place that this can build upon. Others are starting from further back and it takes longer, hence I suppose the difference in where councils are at with their action plans. So what we have done is ensure that the spend is spread over the 3 years, and the trajectory of spend will follow, so that with the lesser spend in year 1 will work its way through in years 2 and 3. So we want to make sure that these are actually going to deliver for people on the ground.
Minister.
Agus Concordia and Buhis Leisinair Vanya Fregression. Minister, would you be able to outline what type of projects are coming forward?
The member for her question. There are currently a wide range of actions being brought forward by the partnerships which are intended to address identified local economic needs. Proposals include business support and mentoring, workspace development and different tourism initiatives.
Annie Donnelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks to the Minister for her answers so far. The Minister will be aware that 89% of Northern Ireland's businesses are micro-enterprises, many of which operate within our town centres. How does the Minister envisage that the LEPs will support town centre regeneration and the growth of these small businesses that are so vital to the local economy?
Yeah, and I think the benefit of the LEPs, the positive about them, the beauty of them, so to speak, is that they are devolved to local areas to come up with what they feel are their own local economic priorities. So if there is a particular initiative that they want to bring forward in respect of town centre regeneration, then that is for them to include within their action plans. And what the funding that has been allocated to each of the LEPs is designed to do is to support them to leverage in additional funding from other departments, and we would encourage them to be building those relationships across departments, as well as working directly with ourselves and our officials.
Stephen Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank the Minister for her answers. The Minister may be aware that the latest figures from InvestNI show that there were 0 jobs created by external investment in the Ards and North Down area for the 5th consecutive year. Can the Minister outline what steps her department is taking to address this worrying trend, and does she believe the LEP can be an effective part of these measures addressing this particular regional imbalance?
Yes, and I thank the member for his question. And I think the increased focus from Invest NI on Indigenous business and on the sub-regional economic plan are a good vehicle for trying to address some of the challenges that he has outlined. I think the LEPs do represent an opportunity to ensure that there is more investment, job creation, and that the priorities of each of the LEPs are being taken forward. As I say, it is up to the partners around the table to bring forward their priorities and to develop an action plan to support those. I did, as I mentioned in my opening answer, have the opportunity to meet with Ardson North Down LEP just after they had established, and I know that the progress is being made. But I think it is incumbent on us as elected representatives to engage with the local economic partnerships as well, and to be advocating on their behalf, and to be making them aware of the types of priorities and projects that other LEPs are bringing forward as well, so that there can be a sharing of knowledge, and that's something that I would actually encourage.
Speaker, Minister, you were previously Finance Minister. Your colleague, the current Finance Minister, has been engaged in a long-running consultation on various changes to rates. No crystallisation of what those will be. Are you advocating for specific changes to the rating system to get more properties back on the high street, businesses to engage back on the high street? Is that a specific case you're making, and when will we be seeing those come forward?
And he's right. I published the rates review, and one of the things that I said at that point in time was that I would be inclined to look at non-domestic vacant property rate relief, and I think that would be a useful vehicle to incentivise businesses back onto our high streets, but only if it's done in partnership with regeneration. And I think that there is a real opportunity to work cross-departmentally on that particular issue as to how we revitalise and rejuvenate our high streets. But the rating system is, I suppose, the main lever that we have in terms of generating revenue as well, so we have to carefully balance when we are trying to make changes to it.
Hollingford.
Question 2, Mr. Speaker.
Go Succeed is an important part of the business support landscape and provides essential advice and guidance to anyone looking to start or grow a business. It is a council-led service and is funded through the Shared Prosperity Fund. It was expected that the successor of this funding would be transferred to the Executive following the British Government spending review announcement in June. I met with Enterprise NI in September to discuss the future of Go Succeed, and while I'm ready to establish a co-design group to consider improvements to the service, clarity is needed on its future funding position. I'm concerned that the new Local Growth Fund appears to be heavily skewed towards capital, with only 33% resource funding. This is significantly lower than the Shared Prosperity Fund, which was 75% resource base. This risks significant harm to projects such as Go Succeed, who are delivering really important services currently funded using resource under the SPF. I'm keen to ensure there is continuity of service and any disruption to businesses and entrepreneurs due to a gap in the funding is avoided. My officials are currently coordinating urgently with the Department of Finance, councils and other stakeholders to determine next steps.
Mr. Hollingford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Minister for her response. By her response, I'm sure she would agree that it's unacceptable that an important service is facing uncertainty 5 months from now, given the vital business support schemes are to economic development. But can the Minister give us any work that the Department are doing to prepare for a scenario where this business support actually ends in 2026?
And I agree with the member. It is absolutely regrettable, disgraceful that we're in this position again. We were when the ESF ended and there was the cliff edge at that point in time, and we said we wanted not to see that again. That's the case I have consistently, and I know my colleague the Finance Minister has also consistently made to the British Government, and I know there's unanimity around the Chamber in relation to this issue as well. My priority is to ensure the continuation of funding of Go Succeed from the Local Growth Fund. Vitally important that the service isn't interrupted or delayed because of the lack of information that is available to us. So I'm continuing to engage at ministerial level, as I said, to ensure that such a scenario is avoided.
Philip McGuigan.
I welcome the Minister's response and that her priority is to see no interruption in services. Can I ask the Minister if she could give her assessment of the impact of Go Succeed to date?
Yeah, thank you. Since its launch in November 2023, Go Succeed has demonstrated a significant impact across the North, empowering entrepreneurs and small businesses with tailored support and expert guidance. It's helped thousands of individuals turn ideas into viable enterprises, contributing to local economic growth and job creation. It's had a transformative effect at local level, and I'm particularly pleased to see strong engagement from female entrepreneurs who've been supported through the service. I've had the opportunity to visit and to meet with businesses that have been supported by Go Succeed, and I've been really encouraged by the feedback that they've provided. The mode of delivery, working alongside councils and local enterprise agencies and other partners, is a really good example of collaborative work, and it's the type of initiative that the LEPs is based upon as well, and I think is a demonstration of how successful it can be.
Alan Robinson.
Number 3, Mr. Speaker.
We have numerous existing tourism products which embrace the opportunities that America 250 brings and recognise the links between America and those of Irish and Ulster Scots heritage. These, as well as their links to the story of America, are showcased on the America 250 page on Tourism NI's websites. Among the relevant key attractions are the Ulster American Folk Park, Hillsborough Castle and the Ulster Folk Museum, as well as the Siege and Tower Museums in Derry. Both Tourism NI and Tourism Ireland are represented on the America 250 working groups, along with a number of partners including PRONI, DFC, the Ulster Scots Agency, National Museums, Tourism Ireland and local authorities. This collaborative approach will ensure that plans for America 250 are tourism focused, using visitor interests such as Irish and Ulster Scots heritage, genealogy, music and literature, sport, screen and US presidents. Tourism Ireland will also use this opportunity to encourage more US visitors to come here to explore its shared ancestry, history and heritage.
Alan Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Minister for her response. Given the unique links Northern Ireland, including many in her own constituency that we share, will she engage with Tourism NI and Tourism Ireland to make sure that the Ulster Scots story features in branding and promotion next year?
And I thank the member for his question, and I think there are opportunities to be garnered from America 250 and the clear linkages that there are right across this island with people who have emigrated to make a better life in America and whose ancestors have come back and want to find out about their history and heritage. So I'm happy to engage in respect of what opportunities and initiatives there might be.
Declan Kearney.
Minister, it's clear that the American market is a very important asset to the promotion of tourism here. In your view, what more can be done to optimise promotion of our tourist offering here on an all-island basis within the United States?
And I thank the member for his question. The US market plays a vital role to tourism here in the North. NISRA statistics show that in 2024, US visitors took 189,000 overnight trips to the North, spending £67 million. And I do think there is significant opportunity working with Tourism Ireland across the island in terms of marketing and promotional activities that are very effective in building the continued trend of US visitors coming here. And there are a number of key opportunities across the course of the year. For example, around St Patrick's Day, at the minute there will be a campaign running under the branding of the Home of Halloween. And obviously we have a significant asset in that regard in terms of the city of Derry. So I think there's a significant opportunity to build on the success that we already have in attracting visitors from the United States.
Jan Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Minister, thank you for your answers so far. Could I ask you, Minister, please, for an update on the Mid-South West Deal investment in the Ulster American Folk Park in Omagh and the role this attraction will play in the upcoming celebrations?
Yeah, and I thank the member for her question. I'm not sure that I have the information that she's asking for in front of me at the minute, but if the member wants to write to me, I'm happy to furnish her with an update in respect of that project.
Timothy Gasson.
Mr. Speaker, individual councils appear to be making their own plans to mark the semi-quincentennial of the Declaration of Independence. Minister, what work is your department doing to ensure that there will be an overarching and joined-up approach to ensure our landmarks with links to the United States of America and villages such as Dervick, Cullibaki and Cook are being marketed to ensure their story is also being told?
Yeah, and I thank the member for his questions, and I think in some regards local councils are best placed in terms of developing specific initiatives for local areas, because they will be understanding of what exactly they have in terms of particular attractions or initiatives that can be developed. Tourism NI does of course have a suite of market and support and business development tools that can be utilised either by individual businesses or others to focus on that specific message around America 250. Both Tourism NI and Tourism Ireland have already outlined their promotional plans for the year to the America 250 partner teams, and I know that the Minister for Communities has previously announced funding to support activity which is intended to draw out and promote that historical connection between the North and the United States. So I think there are opportunities to work across councils to develop a promotional offering there.
Hargate.
Thank you. Question 4.
So my department regulates the minimum quality standards for visitor accommodation across the North. It makes regulations to set standards for areas such as cleanliness, maintenance, essential facilities and comfort that operators must meet. Airbnb is a marketing platform like TripAdvisor and Booking.com and is used to advertise a range of accommodation types. Most properties which use this platform fall within the scope of Tourism NI's statutory certification scheme. Under this scheme, Tourism NI ensures compliance by inspecting all new accommodation establishments before they begin operating and re-inspecting existing businesses at least once every 4 years. My department in Tourism NI have recently completed a review of the scheme statutory criteria. This review highlighted how our world-class tourism offering has evolved over recent years, and in response I have recently launched a public consultation on proposed changes to future-proof the tourism industry's minimum standards and improve visitors' satisfaction.
Ms Hargate.
Thanks very much for your answer so far, Minister. Could you outline also what else is being done to control Airbnbs in areas of high housing demand? Thank you.
Any property owner who wishes to use their property as a short-term let or an Airbnb must apply for a change of use through their local council planning department. The local council can therefore assess the impact on local housing supply in considering whether to grant the change of use. Tourism NI has a formal data sharing agreement with Belfast City Council to facilitate the exchange of information regarding the certification of tourism accommodation. This ensures that both parties are aware of potential legislative breaches and can progress appropriate enforcement action on both sides as necessary. Tourism NI is working to put in place similar data sharing arrangements with all other local authorities.
Andrew McMurray.
And thank the Minister so far. Minister, there are a number of Airbnbs across my own constituency and approximately 100 in Newcastle alone. How does the Minister propose to balance the contribution they make to the economy while at the same time ensuring that first-time buyers are not priced out of the market?
And I thank the member for his question, and certainly it's an issue that I am familiar with as well in my own constituency, and it is an issue, I suppose, that cuts across a number of departments in terms of our housing supply strategy, which the Communities Minister is bringing forward. He is intending to launch research to understand the impact of short-term lets in the local housing market, and I think that will help inform all departments in terms of the types of measures that they may need to take in terms of regulating and controlling the proliferation of Airbnbs that we are beginning to see.
Mr Speaker, does the Minister believe that the current 8 statutory categories for
tourism accommodation is sufficient, or does she support the expanding of those statutory providers to include new types of development such as glamping pods, and which further cover what Airbnb provides?
I thank the member for his question, and I mentioned in my answer about the public consultation that we have just launched, and one of the things that we are looking at is those accommodation categories, things like budget hotels, apart hotels, and of course glamping pods, and ensuring that different types of accommodation are both regulated but also able to access support, because I know of examples in my own constituency where people were wanting to access support for the likes of glamping pods and weren't eligible for that type of support. So I think this is a good opportunity for people to respond to the consultation and to for us to be able to make the appropriate changes.
Thanks, Speaker. Has the Minister considered bringing forward legislation to ensure that booking platforms verify that all listed properties are properly registered as short-term tourist accommodation?
Yeah, and I thank the member for his question, and I think that as the new and emerging trends continue to develop, it has become evident that some of them fall out the scope of our regulatory remit and our certification scheme. So to better support the number of providers offering or wishing to offer, the consultation that I just referred to proposes the creation of a new standalone category of accommodation, which would be alternative accommodation, to better regulate and support these types of accommodation. And we are also engaging with the booking platforms in terms of understanding and encouraging them to engage with us about new applications as they are coming forward. So that's work that continues to be in progress. The Childcare Providers Targeted Business Support Research Report was published on the 24th of September. My department, in agreement with the Education Minister, is leading on recommendation 1, the creation of a specialised ongoing childcare business advisor role or service. My officials are now working closely with Invest NI to develop a costed plan for the delivery of the service. I recognise the importance of ensuring that the service is accessible to all types of childcare providers, including voluntary organisations, community providers, childminders and childcare businesses. It is equally vital that the service operates on a continuous basis, enabling us to better assess the sector's financial requirements. This ongoing approach will allow us to adapt our support to meet the evolving needs of childcare providers over time.
Ms Mason.
And I thank the Minister for that response. Minister, will you be working in partnership with the childcare sector to design this service?
Yeah, and I thank the member for her question. I think that it is really important that we are working in partnership with the sector, and so I've asked my officials to ensure that the new service is designed in partnership. An initial pilot approach is being considered to allow meaningful engagement during the early stages of development.
Kate Nicholl.
Speaker, and thank you for the Minister for her answer so far, especially when she's clearly so unwell, such a trooper. Childcare businesses tell me that the chronic shortage of applicants and recruitment is lengthy and complex, and much of this is to do with the minimum standards of review, which is to do with health. What engagement is your department having to speed this up, because it's crucial to overcoming these barriers for them?
The member for her question, and she's quite right. Obviously, there are challenges that within the childcare sector which cut across a number of departments. The Education Minister obviously leads on the childcare and early learning strategy, and there is a cross-departmental group that engages in relation to those specific issues. In relation to the shortages, what my department has the remit for, of course, is skills development. For those working within childcare and childminding sectors, and we currently facilitate a range of training and qualification pathways through further and higher education, as well as through apprenticeships and traineeships. This year I have secured over £350,000 to support FE colleges in developing online accredited micro-courses focused on supporting individuals with children with additional needs. Further funding has also been provided for research into the barriers to managerial recruitment within the sector.
Cara Hunter.
And a second collaborative Assured Skills Academy in the early learning and childcare sector has also recently launched to support participants with the training needed to gain entry-level roles in the childcare sector.
Cara Hunter.
The Speaker is keen to hear me speak extra soon. Minister, thank you so much for answering our questions here today. We share a very rural constituency with a number of childcare providers who face unique challenges being rural, areas like Glenullen with Apple Tree Childcare. What engagement have you had and your department had with representatives in those areas who face those challenges?
Thank you for the question. And in conducting the research, there was significant engagement with the sector, and we encouraged the responses from across the childcare sector to ensure we got the best representation possible. It was actually something that officials found quite challenging in terms of getting the input from across the sector, and one of the things that we hope that the advice service will do is to give us a better understanding of the sector itself and its needs. So I think getting the pilot up and running and then having somebody who is tasked with engaging with the sector on an ongoing basis will be really important in terms of understanding the types of support that could potentially be needed going forward.
Minister, second there if it's happened before, it hasn't, but if you want some time out, I'd be happy to facilitate that. Okay. If
Gurmayagat can Corlia Cash Evershe.
Minister.
I'm committed to delivering a more regionally balanced economy and supporting the power and impact of our social economy more widely. Community wealth building is an important element of this. Last week, I announced £300,000 of joint funding from my department and the Department for Communities for 2 community wealth building partnerships in the North West region and in Larne. Each will receive £150,000 to pilot community-led economic and social development initiatives. As part of this pilot, over 100 people attended a community wealth building conference in the Playhouse in Derry last week. This conference formed part of the North West pilot and is a great example of how this initiative brings people together to share ideas and learn from each other. Both pilots will explore how local places can assume a lead role in designing and delivering new approaches in economic development, and how the framework contributes to creating resilient local economies and supporting long-term prosperity. In addition to these pilots, I have also consulted recently on proposals to strengthen the credit union sector, and I intend to bring forward legislation within this mandate that will modernise the credit union sector and provide a strong basis for continued growth.
Ms. Finnegan.
Gurmayagat, and I thank the Minister for her answer. Minister, how has the Department progressed the other recommendations of the 2022 Community Wealth Building Report, which is in the DFE remit?
I thank the member for her question. My department has progressed many of the recommendations from this report. We've grown our support for social enterprises, publishing our 3-year Social Enterprise Action Plan last December, which continues to be implemented in a collaborative way between my department and the Social Enterprise Co-Design Group. Another recommendation was to explore the potential for worker cooperatives and employee ownership. This year I made almost £100,000 of funding available to Employee Ownership Ireland. This will help increase the awareness and understanding of the employee ownership trust model and support businesses as they explore transition as an option. In addition, I have funded Trademark Belfast and Cooperative Alternatives to conduct a 6-month education and awareness programme. This will showcase the benefits of the cooperative business model and raise awareness of how to start a community-based cooperative.
Shell Brunley.
Thank you to the Minister. Now, I very much welcome this pilot that will take place in the East Antrim constituency and, of course, Larne. Could you provide some more detail of this scheme and what it will actually mean for local people? Thank you.
I thank the member for her question, and I had the opportunity to visit LEDCOM and hear about their pilot along with the Communities Minister. I think it was one of my first visits as Economy Minister. The North West pilot brings together Development Trust NI, Trademark Belfast and Enterprise North West to promote the North West region and community wealth building across it. Trademark will focus on worker buyouts for business succession and economic resilience, while Enterprise North West will connect stakeholders and highlight the benefits of community wealth building. They're also working to improve social value in procurement and will help local enterprises access credit union finance. LEDCOM will coordinate the Larne Community Wealth Building Partnership pilot. Plans include investigating the creation of a life sciences cluster, developing the business case for Willowbank 2 Innovation Hub, and collaborating with the Port of Larne on logistics upgrades and port decarbonisation.
Okay, I'm going to suspend the sitting until 15:25 and give the Minister a few minutes just for rest her voice, because I can see you are struggling, Minister, whether you want the assistance or not. So we'll resume here in about 7 or 8 minutes, 15:25. Thank you. That's it. And the topical questions for the Economy Minister and Sinead McLaughlin.
Thank you, Speaker. Minister, the Skills Action Plan was published last week. States that you will seek to collaborate on an all-island basis to reduce cross-border barriers to north-south student mobility. Can you be specific on how you will actually achieve this?
And I thank the member for her question. And just on Friday past, we had the North-South Ministerial Council where I had the opportunity to have a bilateral with my counterpart in the South, James Lawless. We actually launched the first all-island apprenticeship in accounting technology on Friday. So I think that's a real tangible demonstration of the opportunities that there are to work on an all-island basis. We're also working to improve student mobility across the island, and there has been recent work done in relation to the CAO point system. We're also looking at how we can better align the CAO and the UCAS the dates of the announcements in relation to the likes of results. So I think we can look at all of the opportunities that there are, and particularly through the Shared Island Funding, I think there are opportunities specifically in respect of apprenticeships that we want to take up the opportunity of developing further areas of study, and the issue of mobility I think is one of particular focus for us.
Loughlin.
Thank you, Minister, for that. Workforce mobility across the island is absolutely critical to addressing persistent labour shortages. Do you support the Northern Ireland Chamber call for an all-island mobility task force, and what active steps are you taking to establishing and contributing to this initiative?
Yeah, and I thank the member for her question. And I actually spoke at the NI Chambers conference, Workforce Conference Summit on Thursday, and it was about as successful as my attempts to respond to questions today in terms of my cough. I set out at the conference that I do support the idea of a workforce development agency. I think that there's an awful lot more for us to do within this mandate, and I had indicated to the Chamber that it would be likely into the next mandate before we are in a position to actually set that up, but it doesn't mean that we don't do the work and preparation at this point.
Guy Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, in a statement on Israel last week, you spoke of a moral duty to ending the arming of, I quote, genocide. The irony of this, of course, will not be lost on those of us who are aware in the Northwest, having witnessed and seen ethnic cleansing at the hands of the IRA. Will the Minister show the same high regard for human rights by supporting the removal of the illegal Republican Memorial at Benbrada Avenue in Dungiven, close to her own constituency office? Minister.
And I thank the member for his question. And what I set out last week was in response to a report that was undertaken by Invest NI into its investments. And in response to that, I think there is a moral duty for us to ensure that we are not facilitating the genocide that is happening in Gaza. Israel is a regime that is illegally occupying and imposing apartheid in Palestine, that's carrying out a genocide, and I think there's a legal obligation on all governments to take action to prevent genocide, including not arming or providing financial support to those committing genocide, and that is what I set out in my statement last week. In respect of memorials and other things across the region, as the member will be well aware, there was a FICT report done, and it is not my party that is blocking the taking forward of recommendations within it.
Minister, no answer whatsoever in terms of the Republican Memorial near your constituency office. Minister, it's my understanding that a consultation with elected representatives on the removal of this shrine was carried out. Can you confirm whether or not you responded to that consultation? And if so, what did you say?
Sure.
I don't have a recollection of what the member is referring to, but I'm happy to correspond with him in respect of it.
And thank the Minister for her answer so far, given the difficulty that she is having today. Minister, can you give us some detail of last week's Intertrade Ireland TCA conference, please?
Minister.
I was delighted to be at the TCI conference last week, which was hosted in Ireland for the first time, and jointly with Intertrade Ireland, Invest NI and Enterprise Ireland. It's a flagship event in clusters and innovation ecosystems, and the island of Ireland was chosen to host the 28th Global Conference, which marked a significant milestone for it because it was the first time it had been held on a cross-border basis. The conference welcomed 250 delegates from over 25 countries to the island. Cluster tours took place in Dublin, Mullingar, Portlaoise, Dundalk, Belfast and Newry, showcasing the innovation and strength of our current ecosystem in fintech, cybersecurity, life sciences, maritime and advanced manufacturing. Clusters are a really important part of our economic policy, and it was a fantastic opportunity for us to talk about what we're doing and also to learn from what is happening internationally. And of course we have work that is ongoing through the Shared Island Enterprise Fund, where Intertrade Ireland have taken the lead in terms of the work across the island in partnership with Invest NI and Enterprise Ireland. So I'd like to commend the work of Intertrade Ireland in organising this truly global conference and providing an opportunity to demonstrate and to showcase the world-class clusters that we have here on this island.
Mrs. Dillon.
Thank you, Minister, for your answer. Minister, do you agree with me that the Mega Group in Mid-Ulster, which is a cluster of engineering companies in the Mid-Ulster area, is one of the best local examples of clustering? And do you agree with me that is exactly why we need to be listening to those engineering companies about what it is we need and how we can work together with universities, with the local schools and the industry to ensure that the skills base required to keep our engineering companies going is going to be there into the future?
Minister.
Yes, I do. I absolutely agree. Mega is a standout example of effective clustering here in the north. I actually gave them a shout out at the conference because they were the first, I suppose, real life example that I had come across of clustering, of industry working together. They bring together key players in advanced manufacturing and engineering sectors, and what they do is they really foster collaboration, innovation and skills development. The strength of Mega lies not only in terms of the industrial impact, but also in their commitment to nurturing talent and supporting local businesses and the local economy. I think that it's a model that other regions and sectors could certainly learn from. And I think it's one of those things that points to the impact that clusters can have. They bring economies of scale and enable specialist expertise and capability to be leveraged for the benefit of all businesses, large or small, within the cluster. And Mega is a really excellent example of how working together, businesses in partnership with government and academia can help our economies become more resilient, more innovative and more productive. And I think one of the other things about clusters is that they can really help us capitalise on one of our key strengths, which is the fact that we are small, we are interconnected, everybody knows everybody. Because we are a small region, people in business, academia and government are already well connected, and it helps us to collaborate really well, and I think there are many successful examples of that happening.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Minister outline the associated costs with Invest NI's review of investments report published just last week, as well as the number of staff who were assigned to work on this report?
I thank the member for his question. I don't happen to have that information in front of me, but I will be happy to furnish the member with it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank the Minister for her brief answer. Can I ask the Minister what message does her actions in the last week send to the 9,000 people employed here in our aerospace, defence, security and space sectors, including those who live within my own constituency, a sector that is worth over £2 billion to our local economy? And can you outline any work undertaken by your department to assess the potential risks to both jobs and further investment as a result of your actions?
And I thank the member for his question. And I think what the message that is sent by the statement that I made last week is that we will have no part in supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza. And as I outlined to Mr Middleton, I think we have a moral duty to ensure that we're not doing that, that we have a moral duty to hold to account the Israeli government for the actions that it's taken. And we have a moral obligation to take actions to prevent genocide from actually happening. And I have made it clear that it's my expectation that public funding isn't going towards supporting that, and that is what I said out in my statement last week. In terms of the wider economy, I work every day to support the betterment of our economy, of creating jobs and attracting investment. We have sectoral action plans that we are working in partnership with businesses to support them to thrive and to grow and to create jobs, and that's work that I will continue to do.
Well, Bradshaw.
Thank you, Minister, for your answers so far. Minister, I very much welcome the one-year pilot for the late-night transport. I think it's an excellent example of collaboration, not just across government departments, but also with the private sector. What will success look like at the end of the year, and how will you monitor and evaluate this scheme? Thank you.
I thank the member for her question, and I agree. I think it's an important step forward in terms of supporting our night-time economy. It is a pilot. We want to understand the impact. We want to evaluate it at the end of the year and to understand whether we continue to take it forward and if it's something that can be applied elsewhere as well across the north. So we had undertaken research on the nighttime economy, and it looked at Belfast, but it also looked at Derry and Enniskillen, and I think there is learning that potentially can be garnered from this pilot that could be applied elsewhere, as I have said. So there will be an evaluation process, and we are looking currently. The Department for Infrastructure is leading on the initiative, but we are looking currently at what exactly will be included as part of that evaluation.
Ms. Bradshaw.
Thank you for your answer. I suppose that the success will actually come from how well the businesses themselves respond to it. What further support are you going to provide to the business directly and also in collaboration with the night SAR, Michael Stewart, in terms of making sure that this is a success? Thank you.
Yeah, and I thank the member, and I think one of the important things about this pilot is it's a cross-departmental approach that has been taken. A number of departments have invested in terms of the pilot, but also Belfast City Council. So I think there is an opportunity to look again at how we can jointly support the success of it. So as I mentioned in my previous answer, we did undertake the research. We're waiting on that report to be published, and I think we'll look at the recommendations coming out of that report in terms of what more that we can do in terms of supporting the nighttime economy in Belfast, but also more widely.
If Finnegan.
Cormayagat, Concordia. To ask the Minister how her new skills action plan will benefit the Irish medium sector.
So my department will regularly review skills provisions to meet the evolving needs of the economy, which are aligned with departmental strategies and with the economic vision. This includes the Irish Medium Accreditation and Learner Support Systems, and in the near future we will commission research to identify barriers and potential solutions to issues that are faced by those who want to achieve Irish Medium Accreditation, with the finding published later in 2026. A key piece of research will include benchmarking accreditation and learner support models across comparable sectors.
Ms. Finnegan.
Cormayagat, Concordia, and I thank the Minister for her answer. Can the Minister also outline how the Skills Action Plan will enhance all island working?
And I thank the member for her question, and I think I responded to Sinead in a similar vein. I think, as I mentioned, there are many opportunities for skills development through the All-Ireland Skills Task Force, which will oversee the delivery of Peace Plus cross-border skills provision and the Peace Plus youth programme, and will enhance and contribute to the All-Ireland Skills ecosystem in collaboration with partners in the South. My department and officials will seek to collaborate on an all-island basis, as I mentioned to Sinead, to reduce the cross-border barriers to north-south student mobility, and including exploring shared island funding as a potential vehicle for further collaborative work across particularly the apprenticeship sector. And I think there are a number of areas particularly that we will want to look on, where I think there are opportunities for us to gain from what is happening in the south, but also for our counterparts in the south to gain from what we are doing on the successful delivery model that we have. And I think there are particular areas of demand in skills. For example, I'm thinking of green skills, where there's a clear need to develop new pathways and curriculum, and I think that we can do that jointly on an all-island basis and share resources, and I think that's something that we want to look at, particularly through the shared island funding opportunities that are coming up.
Thank you, Minister. That's the time up for questions to the Minister for Economy. We're now going to move to an urgent oral. Members, just take their ease for a moment while we change the table.